God bless, good people. God bless. So today we're going to be talking about dreams with Brother Lita, going right into that universe. We'll be unpacking it deeply. Um, so just give a moment just to get Brother Lita on it. And once then, God bless, God bless, God bless, God bless, God bless.
Hey, blessings, of course. How you doing?
I'm good, thanks, Bulls. How you doing?
Good, 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 man. It's been a while since we've done this. It's actually
It's
quite
been a while indeed.
yeah, a little bit too long for that.
Now it's good to be back, though.
No, it does feel good to be. It's really good to be back. So it's pretty exciting. I think we're going to be talking about dreams today. That's quite a nice theme to talk about. But before we do that, why don't we just open up with a short prayer? Huh? Should we do
Could
that?
please
Invocation.
lead us into us, please.
Marcos. Ah, Nkosi, inasifele esikhulu nasitshintsha nazona siyanibiza nonke sicela ukuthi nokho njengoba sizokhula sithethe ngamathomo dreams. We ask that you guide us with the words that we use. We ask that you speak through us, in us and all around us. Help us to say the things that need to be said so that we may be able to connect the people in the right ways, so that we may be able to explain our experiences, your experiences, to individuals who are listening out there so they can be able to relate to their own dreams. We give thanks for this wonderful encounter yet again. We give thanks for the technology that allows this to happen. We ask that you guide us, lead us, show us the way. We submit and surrender to you at all times. Siyanibulala kakhulu nina bantu badala. Sitshintshana zomoya besicela ukuthi liqhubeleke ukusebenza ngaphakathi kwethu. Liqhubeleke ukusikhulisa, nisikhanyisele. Indlela zethu zibe mhlophe kokokoko. Becela nisifundiseni nathi sizokwazi ukufundisa. Ngoba xa ningekho asikwazi ukuwenza lo msebenzi. Siyanicama kwishina nabantu. Camakho. Makhosi mkhulu.
Marcos, Bulls, how you doing, baby? Brisky.
Yeah. So, I wanted to actually ask you questions around dreams. I'm certain you've had quite a lot of dreams that are really interesting in your life. Do you want to share some of the dreams that you've had that were really, really significant and led you to be where you are today?
I will share some dreams. First, before we get into that, I want to go into this topic of dreams, and what are they? Because they're a very interesting space in our lives. They occupy an essential part of who and what we are. And the part that I want to speak about specifically is that dreams are more than what we allow them to be. And I say that again, more than what we allow them to be. In each and every person's consciousness is a limit. And that limit is the point where allowing stops. So in me saying that, what I'm trying to say is life, its whole self, is a dream time. And what that means is through our capacity of vision, we create, because that you see and fixate on, it comes. So dreams serve multiple purposes. On one side, giving you guidance and information about the reality that you're facing and the subtleties of that reality that is facing when you're looking into life. Dreams serve the purpose of helping you understand the mysteries that are unfolding in your life as everyday events, conversations, and situations you find yourself with people, and with yourself. So dreams don't just serve the purpose of it's just a dream. It's my mind trying to reconcile the rest of the world during the day. That's one small part of a dream, but what dreams in their essence are naturally about are about informing you and aligning you with your destiny, with your purpose, with your journey on this earth. And in that, we all have a responsibility to respond, because life is conversation with you and the divine, the great spirit, Unkulunkulu, Matongo, in nature, the whole
Yeah.
we put. And in every conversation, there's a back and forth, and ultimately, what we're trying to show and what we're trying to teach is, as a human being, you have the capacity to derive information from the unknown. As they say, it's the known unknown, but it's also a place where you can, when I say the known unknown, I mean that it's the space where you can speak to the people that you know and the things that so you can
Mm.
get information. Because but also it's about the unknowable. That I didn't know my dream was going to show me this information that is so
Yeah.
mysterious. Like, it's now showing me information about myself and other people, and now this is all actually happening and unfolding inside in front of me. Dreams fall into the realm of one's own intuitive capacities. And intuition is not about something of an assumption. Intuition is life talking back to you about the things that you didn't
Mm.
perceive or think about or realize are happening. And the whole point of intuition is to get you into alignment, nothing else. So you can fulfill the things that you said you wanted to do in this life, the things that you say you want to pursue, the things that you actually about beyond your own ambition as a human being and what you want to pursue, but opens up the realm of understanding and thought, so you can come into a place in yourself where you're unpacking those realities that need to be birthed so you can live a full life experience.
Yeah.
This is ultimately what the dream work is about. One dream, like you said, Mkhulu, do you have any dreams that maybe you want to talk about? I can talk about, I've had a dream where I was, so in this dream, I woke up it's in the middle of like the Kalahari, so there's all these acacia trees everywhere and
Yeah.
desert sand everywhere, but there's this face brick house in the middle of the Kalahari that I am at, and it's a modern face brick house. And I opened the sliding door and got into the backyard. The backyard is the desert, there's no fences. And I start walking for probably something like 100 meters, 200 meters at the most. And then I see these two lionesses in the distance. Oh, they look at me and then they're running at me. My usual response would be to run away, but for some reason I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna turn and walk back. I'm not gonna run. If they eat
Yeah.
me, they eat me. If they don't eat me, they don't eat me. But this was a little dangerous, but I trusted for some reason. So I'm just gonna walk back into the house and just wait there and sit with them. What happened in that dream? They ran after me, or the lioness ran up and bit my hand, and not like bit it, and I felt pain. I built it, bit it, and held onto it. The other one bit my other hand and held onto it. You know,
Mm.
Then they brought me to the ground and they began to devour me. There was no pain. And then all of a sudden, and it's all one dream. I black out on the dream. Next thing I wake up, I'm in the house. I'm in front of this ancestor. That's like, yeah, let's go now. At this point, I'm like a little shook that I just got eaten by lions. But anyway, I jump into the car and go. And I'll stop at that point. Now, that dream has many, many, many layers to it. One layer I can
Yeah.
say, talking about those lions and lionesses specifically when you're saying lions, we're talking about an animal spirit, that is part of my clan totem along the generations and all the lines that I come from. That someone's got this totem. And those specific animal spirits representing that specific part of the totem are coming to come and initiate me. When you're getting devoured by animals, you're being initiated, into that thing specific that they represent. So, like we know, lions represent nobility, lions represent um, bravery, they represent inner strength, they represent resilience, they represent family and um, tribe. So that dream is talking about those type of messages, and that's what I'm being initiated into to understand and to hold and to also work through in my own life. Those are the things I have to work through in my own life. Me waking up, me not fearing them is another thing that says that I've got a good relationship to the point where I don't fear the difficulties and the dangers of the journey that they're coming to portray towards me, in the things
Mm,
that they can teach me. If they are saying, you can handle this in a simple English, that to the point where you'll allow us to devour you. Then I wake up to say that, show me that you'll be renewed after this whole purpose, and you'll be renewed and be aligned with the ancestors that you need to be aligned with to take you along the journey to where you need to go.
yeah.
And again, if we say the house, what was the house all about? Well, the house is built from brick. It's a house of earth. What does earth come from? The earth is the very same thing that carries the blood and the DNA of all the ancestors that walked this earth before. Human beings, are, especially the today's human beings, subhumans of Jauni and the first people, Amariri. So the Jauni were made from animals. This is why a lot of the time animals are used in our dreams, because those very same animals are our actual ancestors. Goes back to explaining why science today talks about human beings having recessive animal DNA, because we come from
Yeah.
a mix between a Jauni and the first people, and in that we get us. And over time, we've become many other races and many other cultures, many other religions, and many other things. It's a
Yeah.
choice that we became those things. But nonetheless, those choices were actual actions and realities that took place. So ultimately, what I'm saying in all of this is that our dreams are detailed, but it always depends on our understanding. And the dreams that we have require us to have an understanding of our historical context, so we can understand the symbols in the forms of animals, peoples, events that take place in them. So it's not something that people need to stress themselves too much about, but they just need to understand themselves better. Your dream is something
Mm,
that you are the best person in the position to actually unpack and understand what is the content of those dreams. Because very much they use symbols that we actually can understand, but the whole thing is work through your excitement for having the dream first before you try and understand it. That's usually the obstacle.
yeah.
But like as we unpacking all these things I'm saying, there's layers and layers upon layers about why we find ourselves in these dream spaces and all the things that are happening in the dreams unpacking themselves in the way that they're unpacking themselves.
Mm. So the most interesting thing is you're so good at breaking down the aspects of dreams, but I mean, what about an average individual? Um, what would you say is the easiest way to sort of kind of interpret your own dreams? Because a lot of people struggle with that. I mean, I have a lot of people come to me to ask me to interpret their dreams for them, but in essence, they have the intuitive capacity to unpack what is being said. So how does one actually start that process?
If I can say one thing about unpacking one's own dreams, it's about the meaning of the dream versus your emotions. And why I say the meaning of the dream versus our emotions is, for example, I'll use this example because it's relatable for people. That a person dreams of their partner cheating. Their partner's not cheating. at all, but they're having this dream. Now, their emotions, if we ask them, but your partner's not cheating, the partner truly is not cheating. Your
Yeah.
emotions are the thing that's causing it. They'll be like, but what do you mean, my emotions? Like, do you feel secure with your partner that your partner's faithful? And they're like, yeah, kinda, yeah, for the sake of peace. And it's like, that's not a good answer. But that's the true answer, because that answer explains then why you're having dreams where your partner's cheating. For example, because your emotions are at such a place where it's now leaking into your dream space, for example. So when I say it's very important to be able to differentiate emotions and dreams, it's so important so you don't have your emotions leaking out. And if your emotions do, it's okay. You know, it's the point of the dream was to invoke an awareness
Mhm.
of the emotions that are happening inside. That was the point of the dream too, amongst the many other purposes that the dream is serving. That was one. But on the other side, it could also be talking about because of the dynamics that you guys have in your relationship. This is the eventual outcome that can happen. And it's not about is my partner faithful or not faithful. It's about your partner as a human being. If you mistreat your partner, someone else will treat them right. And if someone else treats them right, and no matter how much you love them and they love you, if you are non-responsive to your partner and you are distancing and cold to your partner, but you love them, it's not about love. It's about the treatment. Not about do I love you or not love you. The treatment.
Yeah.
The treatment that you creating will eventually result in this person then seeking love elsewhere, not because they love you less or not, but they realize that this love is toxic for me, this love is hurting me, it's harming my consciousness.
Yeah.
But then obviously go and seek love elsewhere. And now you're dreaming them fulfilling that objective of them finding love elsewhere. So this is why I say that dreams are layered. It's not just, oh, that's what I dreamt, so it must be just that they're cheating. It's about, no, look at the dynamics. Dreams are trying to unpack dynamics for you in a way that is relatable for you to actually see if you're willing to see and not allow your emotions just to blind and take over the narrative.
Mm, mm. So, I mean, I guess, are there different types of dreams that one has?
Yeah,
Because
so
sometimes there's,
there's lucid dreams, so what they'll call light dreams, dreams of the light,
yeah,
and they loosen. So that means like just as you're experiencing your awake reality when you're not sleeping and how everything feels so visceral and real, that's one form of dream. Then there's the dreams which usually happen in the beginning part of our sleep, which are deep themselves. They're very deep where they are unpacking things, but usually in that first part, it's about everything that's on your mind. You're thinking in images, no longer in words. So and those images become part of the dream space, what they call the hypnagogic state. All right, it's
yeah.
really still you in that hypnagogic state. You still have so much space to navigate, and there's those type of dreams, and honestly, that's ultimately the two categories. Everything else is a subcategory of these two categories. It's either you thinking about your own thing, or the dream is happening as a vision. There are dreams which are visionary again. Dreams part of visions. Dreams which are prophetic, it's part of visions. When I say prophetic, we dream something that happens. That's part of the whole dream of vision. And dream of thought. Dream of thought is all your desires, passions, lived and unlived, ambitions, lived and unlived, desires and needs, lived and unlived. You know,
Mm,
visions speak not about just you alone, but the first thing about them, they speak the truth that is occurring and will occur, as it will occur.
mm,
But also, they're not just about you, they're about the collective, others, close to you, others that are not close to you, but have a part to play in your life, in the time.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's layered. It truly is layered, and it's something that people need to start to understand for themselves, so they can make better decisions about the meanings of their dreams as they transpire.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about ancestral dreams. Um, how does one actually get into that state where you can actually start connecting with your ancestors to start getting direct messages? How can one process that message afterwards as well? Because it's one thing to dream an ancestral dream, and then how do you process it and take action to it? Talk to me about that.
Again, most ancestral dreams, a lot of them, it's about your understanding of your own cultural background, firstly, so you can understand the symbol. Secondly, it's about also um, being a willing vessel to actually take on the work. If you're not willing, then the dream and its meaning will be something that you are resistant towards. So you will try and change the narrative to something that fits you not having to confront the reality that has been proposed. There are different processes to go about these dreams. There's dream medicine, origins, or bulao, as they call it in Africa. And these medicines are there for that, to help you work with your dream time so you can manifest your reality. There's practices, Tibetans who have something called dream yoga, which is no different to what we do here in Africa. It actually comes from here in Africa. I've sat with the Rinpoche um, in a whole think tank that I did with Wits University. And he was saying that, after sitting with you and working with you and listening with you, I really respect and I actually accept and acknowledge now that really our practices came from you guys as Africans,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I'll say it again that we have dream medicine and we have dream practices in terms of mnemonics, or things that you can, when you say mnemonics, things that you can do whilst you're in the dream, to make you realize that you're dreaming, so you can then actually engage your dream space in a conscious way. There's nothing more exciting, actually, to be honest, as a human being, than to be able to engage your dream in a visceral way. It's not happening to
Yeah,
you, you're happening in your dream, and you're like
yeah,
going where you want to go, and you're remembering everything that's happening, and you're asking questions you want to ask. And it's not
yeah.
just all just a show, a movie, so those parts are very important. And I'll say this, we have things like entheogens, so things like ayahuasca, mushrooms, and all of this. But the reason God gave us dreams is so that we didn't ever have to rely on entheogens and mushrooms and ayahuasca for the purpose of being able to
Mm,
do dreams in medicines. Because dreams are very psychedelic, very psychoactive, very visionary, very prophetic. They cover everything. You can do a lot more in a dream than you can do on medicine. But not many people are willing to admit that, because many people are invested in having the experience with the medicine. And when you're invested in having the experience with the medicine, you have a bias towards having that experience, and this is something that people have to balance within themselves. Yes, the medicine's there, but the medicine is there for a specific purpose. The medicine is not way of life, meaning everyday thing I must do. Medicine is used for when you're not well. That's what it's for. Your dreams are not there as a medicine. They can be medicinal, but your dreams are not there to be a medicine. They are literally
yeah.
part of your gateway, your portal into every other place other than here, which is your conscious waking reality. So that's what I can say about it, But I really feel that people should join us, for the upcoming retreat, where people will experience dream medicines, where we're working through this and entheogens, and actually start to see the difference between these two different things. and two different types of medicines, actually start learning about the dream science and what it's about and how to go about it and how to work with their ancestors and their visions in the space. Because that's the point of why we hold these retreats, so people can come back into a space of Ubuntu. Ubuntu is not just about me, it's about the collective, and my dreams are not just about me, my dreams are about the collective. So this is why we do this work, so we can get into the collective through understanding ourselves, because everyone in the collective is a mirror of ourselves. So the best way to do it is to keep our eyes open, our ears open, and our hearts to the ground. The ground that we're standing on is the same ground that's grounded in the cosmos. Marcos.
So I'm going to ask you another question. When you spoke about the retreat and stuff that we'll be doing there, but when it comes to a dream circle, what is that all about, and what is the process for one to actually start the process of collective dreaming within the dream circle?
Again, dream circles is when everyone decides to come together to share in the collective space of dreaming together for the purpose of healing, getting a message for the collective or for each individual in the ceremony and their families. It's nothing new. It's always been happening. People do end up in dream circles unconsciously, where people around a community or around the world are sharing in the same dream. So there's dream circles which people choose to consciously engage in, and there's dream circles which life puts people in the collective sphere of things. But the whole point of dream circles is the same objective as having a think tank. How do we come together as a collective to envision tomorrow, today? Ultimately, that's what a dream circle is about, in its essence.
So obviously our upcoming retreat is going to be talking about some of these things. We're going to go very deep in terms of the dream space in general, using entheogens, as Mkhulu has already mentioned, and dream circles. There's nothing more beautiful than coming together for a collective in a dream circle to collectively dream, because the messages are sometimes so similar yet so different. Each individual brings their own kind of energy or perspective in terms of where they're at, but it feeds into one collective. I find that when you have one intention, it always assists the process larger. And some of the things that we're going to be doing as well is tapping into the dreamscapes, which is quite exciting, and getting people to start dreaming again. I find that a lot of people aren't consciously dreaming, and if we can get more people to consciously dream, like, the world would be such a different place,
100%, 100%. It's very important. And that's why I said, you must come join us. We'll be unpacking these things. We'll be looking at these things and helping people get a deeper sense of understanding and deeper experience, not from their minds, but from what they're experiencing.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Before we go, Mkhulu, I think let's take, are there any questions? Let's just see if there's anyone who'd like to ask a question that's joining us now around the area of dreams. It's such a beautiful topic, I find, because we dream almost every day. Some people forget their dreams. Other people are aware of their dreams. And there's such power in the dream. I think, it's quite interesting. I find that a lot of people have lost the ability to consciously dream. And if we could just teach people how to just remember that beautiful art, because that's what our ancestors did a long time ago, consciously dream into a new reality by connecting and using that ability to create a new reality for themselves and for the collective, most importantly, as we share,
100%.
Let's try and see if we've got any questions that are going to come up.
Okay, for now.
How do you differentiate between a dream and a vision?
You don't.
No, you can't just say that, because let's expand a little bit further.
This is phrased that way. How do you differentiate between a dream? The same thing. Honestly, truly is the same thing. The question, if we're gonna unpack it more, like we already discussed, is
am
I having a vision prophetic vision of something in my own life or something still to come, or am I just having a dream of trying to reconcile my thoughts, and again, in the dream where you're trying to reconcile your thoughts, what you first are going to notice, you can't remember any of the content. It's just so much going on. The topic keeps changing. The scenery keeps changing every 2 seconds. You here, then you're there, and nothing's making sense. And everything you watched on TV is coming up, and every conversation you heard in the day is coming up. Whereas, like I say, with visions, it's less about what happened during the day or the week. It's about information that is actually going to transpire. It's something that's actually going to transpire. There's another layer to this question which says vision and dream. When you say vision, dreams are included in that, but so are thoughts which are visual. So are visions, which when you're still awake and sitting like how we're sitting, not sleeping, those visions that come for those few seconds and you see something. But the thing about a vision, like I said, is that it will become versus those dreams where you're reconciling your thoughts, which is just about you reconciling your thoughts. If you're thinking in a certain way, yes, if you keep thinking that way, it will become true, but that's far different from you being told information about something you weren't thinking about. And it happens exactly like they're telling you that it's going to transpire. It's
Yeah,
not about
yeah.
going to transpire tomorrow, it's about it's eventually going to transpire. Because time doesn't work in our time. Time works according to how the way it wants to work.
Mm, mm, mm. Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. I hope that that clears it up for you a bit. But obviously, we can go deeper. Like I said, if you join us for the retreat, we're definitely going to be talking more about this stuff. One of the greatest practice that I've ever started is a dream journal. Now, most people don't write down their dreams, and what happens is you have these beautiful dreams at times. You get so excited and stuff like that, and you don't realize that sometimes there's patterns within the dreams because the answers that you seek don't necessarily come just in that one dream. So dream journaling is such a powerful tool. You can go back and assess what is being said. Look for the themes, look for the patterns, um, understand the emotion, like emotional space that it puts you in as well. Because I've had some very scary dreams, where things were absolutely happening and, you know, you just wanted to wake up, sort of like nightmares. Let's talk a little bit about that. That would be the last thing we talk about. Let's talk about nightmares. How do you, what is a nightmare and why do we experience that?
Again, nightmares are visions, and sometimes they are anxieties and fears, that you need to reconcile with yourself. And ultimately, what nightmares are about trauma, that you have a trauma seated in your soul, and that trauma is something that you're avoiding, something that you don't want to deal with because of the gravity that it holds on your consciousness. That when I think about this thing, I become so scared, that I don't know what to do with myself. I'd rather avoid. And the longer you avoid
Mm,
something, the more tension you're creating in your soul around that thing. Because to avoid something is to create more of that same thing in your life, because you're teaching yourself a behavior, habit of avoidance and escaping yourself instead of being able to confront yourself. And what that eventually will become is fear and petrification and terror, where every time that thing comes up. So if you're afraid of death and you dream of yourself dying, it's not about death, you're gonna die, as per se. It's about you yourself. You fear death, and death is something that you're traumatized about, because of your
yeah, yeah,
understanding of what it means. So ultimately nightmares are holding the message and the code of what traumas do you still have unresolved. We can't say
yeah,
it's you dream of a bear chasing you. That's what a nightmare is. For another person, it's a demon chasing them. For another person, it's having to raise a child when they don't have children. you know. For another person, it's getting married because they've never been married and they're afraid of the responsibility. For another person, it's forgiving someone that they hate. For that's what I'm saying. You can't just say it's one thing when it comes to nightmares. It's contextual to each individual and each individual soul. But ultimately, what nightmares are about unresolved trauma, personally, but also intergenerationally, because we inherit the intergenerational traumas and we're being informed about these intergenerational traumas through the advent of a nightmare. It appears as a nightmare because it's something scary. It's information that is uncomfortable. It's information about what actually happened, and you're seeing it and you don't even know who these people are in front of you, but the thing that's happening is happening. And the thing that happened isn't a nice thing, it's a traumatic thing. And all the emotions are in the moment as it's happening. So ultimately that's what it's about. Understanding. Of course.
Now, of course, there's also another phenomenon that's happening more and more to more and more people is sleep paralysis. When you try to sleep but you can't move.
Sleep paralysis is not necessarily just about dreams. People need to start. No, honestly, people need to change their bodies. Lots of people, it's not spirits attacking you and whatnot. It's the fact that people have such congested bodies, physically and energetically. Physically, they're congested with all sorts of mucus from all their lifestyle choices that they're making without cleansing those lifestyle choices, meaning eating the wrong things, taking the wrong substances into your body and not cleansing those things out. And then on the subtle energy, engaging in things that you're not supposed to engage in. So in terms of actions and behaviors, people do that all the time. People get into jobs which naturally you have to do things which are wrong to people, but it's your job. For example, the priest, or a person that's a motivational speaker. Let's leave the priest alone. We've already seen they've done enough to society. Let's talk about the motivational speaker. Someone wakes up and decides, I'm going to be a motivational speaker, and then, but the things they want to motivate people on are the very same things that they haven't sorted out and fixed in their own lives. Now they're starting to have guilt and regret about that thing that they know they haven't integrated, and they're really struggling very hard and they don't know what to do. But they're confidently trying to teach people things that they don't actually understand, and they're not actually learning. They're just taking this and copying pasting, taking this and copying pasting that code, that code, that code, that code, that code. And what people don't understand, you can't lie to your consciousness. You can lie to other people.
Yeah.
Lie to your consciousness. And if you try lie to your consciousness, it's going to give it back to you in your dream space where you're most vulnerable to it and most open to its messaging. So then now the consciousness is like, okay, I want to take you there to that thing of you when you're lying about this and lying about that. Then you said people must get over themselves and get over this. Okay, now let's go there to the thing you need to. Now they can't go there. Sleep paralysis, And physically, again, it's it's an unhealthy nervous system and an endocrine system. If your nervous system and endocrine system are compromised, then you're going to have sleep paralysis and you're going to feel like people are standing on your chest and all of that. If you have lots of mucus in your lymph system and blood system and in your organs, you're going to have sleep paralysis. Because you're not breathing deep enough to get the oxygen to where it needs to get and the nutrients to where it needs to get. So then why are you expecting then you're going to have peaceful sleep and your body's going to act and function properly when you're working against it in the very same place, very first place? So again, sleep paralysis is not about demons and spirits attacking you. Now it's about being in a state where you cannot hold the space because you haven't embodied, you haven't done, let me rather say, the groundwork to be in a strong enough space to hold all the information that is coming through in that moment.
Yeah.
It makes you uncomfortable, or because your body gets uncomfortable because of it having to produce the feeling of fear or nervousness or happiness. All of these physically are expressed as have a biochemical expression, either adrenaline, endorphins, serotonin, or melatonin, some kind of compound that's going to result in a physical feeling. So again, if you mess up your endocrine system, which is all about your glands and secretions, and your nervous system, which is all about your brain and spine, and all of the things that your brain and spine secrete into your chemistry, your blood system. Well, welcome to the world of sleep paralysis. I nightmare and no sleep paralysis. It's not that I'm better or I'm more trained or I'm something higher. No, it's not that. It's that my body is less burdened. My emotions is less burdened than the next person. And because of that, this person now is going to experience all these realities. And if they corrected those issues in their body and in their emotions, then they wouldn't be suffering from sleep paralysis. Marcos.
Uh, you mentioned something that's like you just opened up a can of worms when you speak about diet. Um, what kind of diet can one actually partake in order to have powerful
I'll
dreams?
say, to
Yeah.
keep it simple, people should just go for a vegetarian diet, or if not a vegetarian diet, they want to still eat meat. They must just reduce the chemicals in their diet, the hormones in their diet. So if you're eating foods that are filled with hormones, eating foods that are always refined, you're going to have a problem. So just keep your diet clean. The cleaner it is, the better the quality of your sleep and your dreams. The more you interfere with nature and nature trying to work itself in the way it works itself, then you're going to be in a problem. But ultimately that's what I'd say. Like we said, on these retreats, as we're doing them, we have a person in house chef cooking the meals, and the meals are all being cooked according to proper food combinations, proper herbs that are selected, and vegetables that are selected, and fruits that are selected, everything that's accessible when you walk into a shop and buy. But it's the intelligence of combining things properly and knowing what to eat and what not to eat, that will actually improve that. So it's not like I have to struggle to eat right, to have better dreams. It's not about I have to become a vegan to have deep, meaningful dreams. You can be eating meat and still have a high vibration. Your ancestors ate meat and have a high vibration.
Yeah.
Our ancestors, as human beings, ate meat and they have a high vibration. Yes, to all of us who are out here doing yoga and meditation and plant medicine, everything, they ate meat and they had a high vibration. I want to say that meat doesn't lower your vibration. Your heart is what lowers your vibration. If your heart is dirty, your vibration is going to be low. If your heart has a high vibration, your vibration is going to be high. So if we all as people just understand that thing, keep your heart clean, just lie heart clean, and eat right. Eat in a way where you honor your body, you'll be fine. Definitely be fine. I've been having very profound dreams since I was a child, and when I was a child, it's not like I was eating the perfect food combination, perfect vegetables, perfect, but my lit, 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 still today, lit dreams, and many other people too. Lit, there's people I know who have insomnia, but when they sleep, their dreams are lit. They'll tell you like, I went through this and I saw that's gonna happen in this. So, and they're on that diets and on all sorts of things to try to get them to sleep. So it's not about just the diet, it's about the heart. The heart must be in the right place. If the heart is in the wrong place and it's dirty, first the person must start getting to cleansing their heart. And that's why we do this work with all these different dream medicines. So these medicines that we work with in these retreats are to take you to the heart. These are heart medicines to take you to your core issue, so you can understand and unpack yourself, to see your resentment towards self and life, to see your guilt towards yourself and life, your regrets towards self and life, see your stubbornness towards self and life, etc., etc. because we are the problem. If you see a problem in the world, just know it's oneself. It's not the world. It's oneself. Because it's the I that is the problem. And if there's an I, there's a mind. Like I heard, where's the mind? Never mind. You can't
Yeah.
place off like a
So, of course, we gotta let's stop for a second and let's put it back to the flow. This will be the last time that we do that, and then we'll close up soon. So let's find out if anybody's got any questions. And if you just joined us, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. We're talking about dreams. We're really excited because we're working on a great retreat around the dreamscapes. It's called Ubuntu Medicine Journeys. And we'd love to host you. You guys, it would be great if you could come and join us. But for now, let's just find out from anyone in this house. If there's any questions, please feel free to ask. We'd be honored to kind of answer anything. As someone said, this conversation is lit. You know, this live is lit. So, what questions do you guys have around dreams? And we can maybe sit down and answer some of those. Okay. How to remember your dreams. Wow. Okay. Moya Faithy, thank you so much. You've been so active today. Cool. This is like a very nice one because most people always seem to dream and forget. You know, always forget. I mean, I was reading something the other day about dreams. It's like 90% of people lose their dreams. They don't remember the dreams. You know, I found out that it's also, from my perspective, it's also because we don't keep a dream journal. So what happens is it's most fresh when you wake up in the morning. And if you could just wake up in the morning, the first thing that you do is you write it out, you know. And I've kept a dream journal for a while, and it's interesting when you go back and listen to patterns that have been happening in your life, kind of a thing. But from your side, of course, what do you think is the best way that people can perhaps dream and start remembering their dreams?
Stop being resistant to the things your dreams are trying to show you. That's the first thing. Dream
what
journal.
What is this resistance you're talking about?
Again, like for example, our ancestors, they weren't running around with dream journals, or we'd have copies of them. Just saying, you know.
but also realize that times have changed so much. Times have changed so much. And the reality, the food we eat is bad. The circumstances that we live in is bad. And so we are not as pure, unfortunately, as our ancestors were. We have to take that into consideration. So
100%.
Times have changed drastically.
100%. But again, you're living in a society that's nervous today. And a nervous society is a society that's resistant. You know, and when you ask what are they resistant to, they're resistant to different parts of their consciousness. And those different parts of what those parts are saying, you know, personally to them as they're perceiving. What are those parts of their consciousness invoking inside of them to remember so they can heal? So if a person is resisting that, then you're resisting the information coming from your consciousness. And if you resist information from your consciousness, you're telling your consciousness like, hey, dude, I don't want to hear it. So your consciousness is like, okay, cool. If you don't want to hear it, I'm not going to say anything until you're willing to hear. I'm not even going to force you to remember this. I'm not trying to traumatize you as your own consciousness. I'm going to wait for you to a point where you are willing and ready to start looking at the things that I'm trying to say to you. Until then I'm going to keep quiet. Until then, I'm going to be inactive. If you don't teach yourself that your dreams are important, you don't remind yourself your dreams are important, and you're always arguing with your dreams that it can't be this, it can't be that, I don't want to know. So like, Moya Faith is saying sometimes dreams are so confusing and overwhelming the dream. Yes, that is the nature of the dream. It's the space where you're vulnerable to your consciousness, and your consciousness is like, I've got you finally. I'm going to have I'm going to have we are going to.
You can't run.
If you're open, it's going to overwhelm. The dream is going to be overwhelmed to give you the message that you're overwhelmed when it comes to this thing that I'm showing. It overwhelms. It's a message, direct message. Dreams are very direct, but people are only looking at the picture part. They're not looking at the feeling part, the unfolding story as the thing goes along. So then they can't then synthesize the whole thing together. To make a story that makes sense about what the reality. They're not looking at the individuals, the places that they are in. Each part is talking
Yeah.
because each part it's a sentence. Each part is like a sentence in a whole story. So if a person wants to remember their dreams, the first part is you must respect and acknowledge your dreams as important, and then evade resistance. Resist. Yeah, this dream, I don't like what it's saying. Like, for example, me when I have nightmares for the past 5, 6, 7 years, you know, a nightmare can start, and I'm like, okay, this is like watching a horror movie. Let's go there. That attitude, like, I'm telling you now, a nightmare is a dream you can't forget because it's
Yeah.
watching you're engaged.
It's
So
such
then
an emotional thing, you know?
go with to where it's going. If you die, you die. You're not dying in real life. Go where it's going. And the thing is, right? Ultimately, it's about that thing, engagement. You engaged. But you can
Yeah,
only
yeah.
be engaged when it's, for example, there's two ways to be engaged when it comes to dreams. That you force into a situation which is like, oh my, what? This is, I never,
Mm,
how did we get here? Then it's so enamoring, it's so like, wow, that you have no choice but to be engaged. It's one way to be engaged in your dream. And when you engage, you won't forget. Other way, like I say, here's you respect your dreams. You actually want to engage. You want to know. You actually want to accept and be receptive to anything that may come up in your dream space. You're really interested. You cannot have engagement without interest. And that's why I say you must have a true, sincere interest in your dreams. It mustn't just be a thing of like, yeah, I'd like to remember my dreams. That's not enough. You must actually
yeah,
be
yeah, yeah.
interested in your dreams. That will suffice.
So I mean, there's a lot of questions that revolve around remembering your dreams. So let's talk about another aspect that can perhaps help, which is I found is the cleansing process. Could you go a little bit explain that a bit around cleansing and how that affects and impacts your dreams?
So, like I said, you're cleansing your organ systems. The better the state your organ systems are in, the less pressure is going into um, balancing those organs because the body works on a body clock when you're not dreaming all the time. When you're not dreaming, when you're sleeping, it's because a lot of your energy is being directed to the rest of your body. Mhm.
Mm,
So there's a time for the liver, the time for the spleen, the time for the large intestine, time for the small intestine, time for the pancreas, time for the brain, time for the lungs, time for the liver, time for the kidneys, time for the bladder, time for the gallbladder. If you have compromised these organs, more energy is then directed away, from you having the capacity to remember your dreams. So the parts of your brain which are responsible for memory have energy directed away from them, and that energy is directed more towards fixing the compromised organs in your body. So then it makes it harder for you then to remember because there's less energy in the organ that actually assists you in recollection, being able to recall a dream. It's not about can I see the dream or not, it's about can I wake up and recall it. Now, if this
yeah,
organ
yeah.
in the morning still is not having energy directed to it, the organ is still directing energy to the lungs and all of this thing. And most of the energy, there's no surplus energy to be directed here. So you can remember. Then yeah, we're not gonna remember. So detoxing is for that, to assist you to be able to recall your dreams. It's also about oxygenation. The more oxygen you can get circulating throughout the body, the better it is, for you to be able to recall and remember your dreams. Because with better
Yeah.
oxygen delivery, there's also better nutrient delivery. Because if the oxygen get there, these other nutrients get there. Oxygen being one of the nutrients that is important, for the functioning of your body, of course.
Mm, of course, Keshalam. Moya Faith is like, you should just come join us at the retreat, I promise you, because you seem to ask so many questions, which is great, So obviously during the retreat, we're going to be going through some of these things, this diet plan, there's the cleansing plan, and we're going to go really, really, really deep into the dream space. We're going to consciously, collectively create a dream that can hold all of us together. Ideally what we want is for you guys to walk away with feeling more empowered and feeling more equipped. And that's the end goal of the retreat, is to help you guys remember how to dream again in the most powerful and profound way that impacts your life, that shifts and transforms your entire being. So do join us at this retreat. I think it would be quite awesome. I mean, I'm quite excited about it. We launched it just recently, and if you guys are interested to join us, please just drop Zola or myself a DM, and we'll send you the details. It'd be great to kind of dream together to a new reality. Mkhulu, I think
God bless you.
let's close the circle, Mkhulu. Unless you want to
100%.
take one more question. What's your thoughts?
I'm just gonna say, consciously refute it is so right. When she says also ask to remember your dreams and thank when you do receive them. She's so right, because again, your dreams are coming from somewhere, either God, your
Yeah,
ancestors, the guides, or the nature.
yeah.
From somewhere. So ask there and also give thanks when you do get. And also remember where you asked from when you're giving thanks. Don't ask from God now and then after that you thanking the rock, or you ask from Jesus, not ancestor. You ask from the ancestor, now you're thanking Jesus. Come on. There must be order. You can't go to Dion Wyatt, and ask for them to fix your laptop, and then you go to Matrix and say, thank you for fixing my laptop. That does not make sense. You know,
Yeah. No,
so
gratitude.
we give thanks, consciously reveal it, for that statement
Yeah.
too. And we give thanks to Moya Faithy for all her contributions too, and for everyone else that has made contributions on this
Absolutely.
chat. God bless.
Absolutely. God bless Mkhulu. Um, I think, yeah, let's just do a closing invocation prayer. Yeah.
Marcos.
Makhosi. Camaku, makhehla makhulu. Sihlole ezikhulu, sitshintshana zomoya. Siyanibulela ngelemini namhlanje. Siyanibulela ukuthi nokho sibulele. Besicela ke aba bathethileyo bave kakuhle. We give thanks to the sharing and all those that joined us in the circle. We ask that you help each and every single individual to step into their dreamscapes, learn to remember the dreams, but also deal with the things that are behind the dreams. As we've learned during the session, we give thanks for everything that you constantly are giving our way. And we ask that you help us to start creating more conscious individuals that consciously dream themselves into a new reality, especially in these tough times. We give thanks to all the ancestors, the ancients, and all the spirits that are constantly around us. May you continue to walk with us, and may you help us as we sleep tonight to dream a dream that is worth remembering. Tamako, Ashe, Aho.
Oh. All right, Mkhulu. God bless. It's a good evening.
Of course, I'll chat later.
Chat later. God bless. Good night to everyone. Have a peaceful evening.
Night, everyone. Dream peacefully.
Of course.